So the Hamilton Warriors are off to a historic start to their 8th season in the National Hockey League. The Arizona Coyotes were just defeated 3-2 with Paul Peru in the net, having himself another fantastic season. Mats Eriksson was traded off to the Vancouver Canucks, who we faced in his first game in Vancouver. It was Peru versus Eriksson. Peru came out on top with a 4-3 overtime victory, but a quick stats update is in the works. This team is currently on a 9-game winning streak for, I believe, the second time already this season. 22-2-0 is the record. Lane Pandolfo, the team captain, has an astounding 36 points in 24 games, putting him on a 123-point pace. The 25-year-old franchise potential forward, who is the captain, is eligible for an extension at the end of this season. In his career, in 588 games, he's got 387 goals, 293 assists for 680 points, and is an astounding plus 552. And of his 387 career goals, only 27 of them have come on the power play. 7 of them have come shorthanded. Right behind him, alternate captain, also franchise potential, right D, the number one defenseman on this team, with an absurd 16 goals, 19 assists, and 35 points in 24 games. Just turned 25 years old, 516 career games, 175 goals, 431 assists for 606 points, and again, an astounding plus 557. And of his 606 points, the defenseman only has 68 points on the power play, and 15 of his 175 goals have come short-handed. He is also on pace for about 120 points so far this season. He has got another 2 years left under contract after this one. He literally turned 25 yesterday. It is December the 2nd, 2029. Thatcher Lewis is another one having a career season. He is on pace for, I would say, probably about 110 to 112 points this season. He is in his 4th year with the Hamilton Warriors. He is signed to one of the best contracts in the National Hockey League, 4 more years after this one at 5.25. And in his career, in 586 games, most of which were played with the Ottawa Senators, he has 146 goals, 331 assists, and 477 points. So very soon, probably, I would say shortly after the halfway point of this season, he will hit his 500th career point before turning 27 years old. Samuel Burkowal, the 22-year-old who, in Matt Seaman's absence, took over as the number one center. He is a point-per-game player this season in just 101 career games. The 22-year-old Calder Trophy winner has 76 points in 101 games, 26 goals, 50 assists. Not much in the way of taking penalties, but he is an absolutely fantastic two-way forward. He is eligible for an extension this season. The 6'5", 226-pound center is definitely someone that the Hamilton Warriors are going to be looking to lock down long-term. Now, after missing 4 games due to injury, it hasn't exactly been a seamless return for Matt Seamans. He is above a point per game, will likely be around the 80 to 85 point mark this season. He has spent his entire career so far with the team in 505 games. He has 169 career goals, 254 assists for 423 points, and is finally hitting his stride. He is 90 overall, an absolutely fantastic physical specimen. He was the 69th overall pick in the first year, and he is also eligible for an extension after this season, but he is definitely going to command a massive salary. Hannu Lejunen has been absolutely fantastic for this team since being picked up. So far this year, he's got 13 goals. He's on pace for more than 40 goals this season. He had a tremendous first full season with Hamilton, 81 games played, 30 goals, 58 points. In 145 career games, he is 1 point shy of 100 in his career. He's 25 years old. He's got fantastic speed, an unbelievable shot, and he is very clutch when it matters in the playoffs. His weakness is definitely his defense, but his biggest downfall, I would say, is just his overall awareness, his his hockey IQ, but is signed to a fantastic 6-year, $8 million AAV contract for someone who plays 17 minutes per game and is on a 40-plus goal pace. Kent Johnson still continues to be fantastic for the team, but 22-year-old 5th overall pick 4 years ago, Dylan Watts, who again is on a very team-friendly contract at $7.25 for the next 7 years. He is a top 2 defenseman on this team. After having 2 60-plus point seasons, he has taken a bit of a step back this year with just 14 points in 24 games, but Darren MacDonald has absolutely taken over when it comes to points. Not the greatest physically, but his skating is unbelievable. His defense is fantastic. His shots better than people give him credit for. Alex Texier, being relegated to the third line, is likely on his way out after this season to make cap space for some of the extensions that are going to have to be signed, like Samuel Berkowal and Ivan Zamnov. The second pairing defenseman, also 22 years old, was the 22nd overall pick 3 years ago, 6'2", 205 pounds, has had substantial injury trouble so far in his career. In his third season, has only played 121 games, 4 goals, 35 assists, 39 points, and a plus 42 for a defensive defenseman who is unbelievable defensively. But as I said, he is on an expiring contract. Zamnov and Berkowal are both definitely going to want to get paid. Alex Texier's contract is definitely standing in the way of that. Jordan Gavin has taken a bit of a step back so far this season, but the third-line center's playing almost 14 minutes a game. He had 46 points in his first full season in the National Hockey League, and so far this season, he is playing the most minutes of his career. I believe he has a bit of a weaker third line. He is with Texier, and he is with Ryan McLeod. And Ryan McLeod definitely having a down year compared to the one he had last year. Slav Pushkarev, or Push as he's affectionately known, is kind of having a bit of a bounce-back season. Lassie Thompson has been a fun addition to this team. He's only on pace for 17, 18 points, something like around those lines, but he is a perfectly acceptable third-pairing defenseman. He fits very well on this team, and at 2.75, his cap hit's not amazing, but it's also not terrible. Nils Lundqvist has been a bit of a letdown points-wise so far this season. He had 4 points in 17 games with the team last year after the trade deadline, and only 5 points in 21 games. He is another one who has missed time both seasons since he has got here. Very good defensively, relatively good durability-wise, not the most physical defenseman, but very clutch in the playoffs, very good with the puck. Balance is an issue, just signed for 4 years, 5.25. He is one of those contracts that maybe the Hamilton Warriors regret signing. Then there's Slav Kolyachonok, who has 5 points so far this season. He is a two-way defender, second-round pick 10 years ago. He's 28 years old on a very good contract. And although he doesn't produce the most points, definitely one of the favorites on this team. And I could see him being a seventh defenseman, or maybe even just stay on that third pairing for a long time to come. Miguel Marquez, the 23-year-old fourth-line center, who is a playmaking center, kind of jumped onto the scene and was fantastic right out of the gate after playing for the Ontario Reign last season for the LA Kings. He started his career with 3 points in 4 games, and now just 1 point in the next 5, but he is on the fourth line. He was a 20th overall pick 5 years ago by the Los Angeles Kings. Justin Bell not having the greatest season of his life either, but he is only 23 years old. The 17th overall pick 5 years ago by the Hamilton Warriors. Very physical grinder center. Really, really smart defensively. We're hoping that he picks it up. John Ramirez is another interesting one who may get himself into a couple more games as time moves on. He is a two-way forward, and he is very solid. It would be fun to see him get himself into some more games. I'm thinking in the coming games, John Ramirez will end up in the lineup. Connor Clifton, obviously the spare defenseman on this team, a +2, has 1 assist in the 3 games that he has been in, is still a very serviceable defenseman at $1.3 million. He comes off the books this season. In net, we've got Paul Peru, who is 19-1-0 in his 20 games this season. He's got 3 shutouts in 20 games, a .918 save percentage, and a 2.09 goals against average, but is only facing about 26 shots per game on average. And we've got Matt Murray, who is about to go and jump into his very first game with this team. As we look league-wide, Lane Pandolfo, Darren MacDonald, and Thatcher Lewis lead the National Hockey League 1, 2, 3 in points, and right behind them is 32-year-old Connor McDavid, who just recently passed 500 career goals. So it is going to be very interesting to see how this season goes on as time goes on. But going up against the LA Kings, Miguel Marquez is coming out of the lineup, and Ramirez will be jumping in. He's 22 years old. He was a second-round pick by the Washington Capitals. He does have top 6 forward potential. He has only gotten into 2 games so far, but he has 1 assist in those 2 games played. Special teams is something that we are going to be playing with a little bit as time goes on. When we go very quickly look at the contracts on this team, there are a few that stand out, like Ivan Zamnov, who is a restricted free agent now. He would be a UFA after 3 years, an RFA after two years. So that 2-year contract would cost the team about probably $7 3/4 a year to keep him. Anything more than that, and he is going to be commanding more than $10 million a season if we wanted to keep him long term. Samuel Berkowitz, who is also a restricted free agent, would want 6.5 for 2 years or 9.3 over the course of 8 years, but is not currently interested in an extension. Ryan McLeod will likely be coming off the books this season. Jordan Gavin, the team will be looking to try and find a way to hold on to him. There are other people that will be coming up in the bullpen. Pushkarev is likely going to be re-signed. One of the next one, John Ramirez, will likely be qualified. And in net, Paul Peru is signed for 6.6 for the next 7 years after this season is done.